I'm gonna put some ice in it. Fill it up with ice. All right. Shalom, Yasharala. I'm gonna start out by giving infinite honors to my heavenly Father, my great King, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem Harakar. I want to give double honors to our teachers, the apostles of Great Millstone, and salutation to my fellow laborers in Yahweh Shah puts in his true across the 4 winds and his follow hours. Shalom, one of you brothers. All right. This title is about knowing who your enemy is. All right. You see, when you look at the nation of Israel is drunk off of black culture. They're drunk off of gangster rap, hip hop culture. All right. And what hip hop culture promotes is self hate and genocide. Okay. All right. And it's a part of the curses. It's ultimately the curses being fulfilled in Deuteronomy 28 chapter, where the scriptures say your eye will be evil towards your brother. All right. For you to hate your brother and want to kill people that look just like you, but when it comes to other races and other nations, you don't have that same ill intent. That's a curse. All right. Now, Heavenly Father told us in ancient time past, for us transgressing his law, he was going to put those foul seducing spirits upon us, a nation. And this is the times that we're living in where we can wake up and we can identify the problem. All right. So you have new brothers come in, and you got this crop of people that are intellect is going to be aroused because they're looking at the news, they're seeing what's going on TV, and they're going to know about the Hebrew Israelites. But we're here to tell you the fucking truth. All right, your fellow Israelite, your fellow so-called Negro or so-called African American is not your enemy. All right, that is an agenda that has been put on us by the so-called white man, the elites of them. All right, and they have created an arena for our people to self-hate, for our people to indulge in degeneracy, just everything about black culture is degenerate. It's just degeneracy in every facet of it. All right, and we're here to shed lights on, man, who the real enemy is. All right, the real enemy is first and foremost this flesh. That's how we ended up in this predicament we're in. All right, so I'm gonna start off in the book of 1 Corinthians. You know what? I'll start off in Romans 7 first. I'm gonna start off in Romans, the 7th chapter. Then I'm gonna go to 1 Corinthians. All right. With Paul. All right, this is Romans 7. I'm gonna get straight to the point. All right, this is Romans 7:23. But I see another law in my members, talking about our body. All right, in this flesh that we're in, warring against the law of my mind. Because when you get enlightened, you want to do right. Even when we were enlightened, we would do certain things in the world and we'll be like, man, I know this shit wrong. I shouldn't be doing this, man. I shouldn't be polluting my system like this. All right. But you'll be wanting to do right, trying to do right. But your flesh, all right, it naturally pulls at doing contrary to what your mind wants to do. All right. This is your first enemy. All right. When you learn right from wrong, the difference between holy and unholy, all right, clean and unclean, you start to see that this body that we're dwelling in is your number one enemy, okay? Because it wars against your spirit. And your spirit tells you what to do right, and this flesh is wicked, okay? And bringing me into the contempt of the law of sin, which is in my members, okay? Now when you know what sin is, transgression of the law, right? You get a full understanding of it, because you know some of our people in the Gentile mind state that they understand right and wrong, and they haven't even been taught, man. You know, it's just in them naturally. Okay. Oh, wretched man that I am. See, we are wretched. These bodies that we're in, they're wretched. Who shall deliver me from this body of death? All right. When I'm here to do right, wrong is always right there warning me to do wrong. Okay. And this is the answer. I thank Yahweh through Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, the anointed, our Hamashiach. So then with the mind, I myself serve the law of Yahweh, but with the flesh, the law of sin. All right. And we are here to learn how to conquer our flesh through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai. And the way we do that is by reading his word and living according to his word. And it teaches us how to overcome this sinful flesh. And I'm going to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 9. Salaki. 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse, we'll go down to 25. All right, it's written. And every man, I'm going to start at 26. I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so I fight, not as one that beateth the air. And look, what are we fighting for? We're fighting to get to the kingdom of heaven. All right, we're fighting to live a life blameless, without spot or blemish. We want to live a sinless life and please our heavenly Father. Okay, by doing that, so to do that, you have to put your body in a subjection, because your body wants to sin daily. But I keep under my body and bring it into subjection. You see, this flesh that we're dwelling in is our number one arch nemesis. All right. Lest by any means, when I preach to others, I myself shall be a castaway. So we got to get these vessels that we're living in order. We have to control it and don't let our impulses, our emotions, all right, control us. All right. That's the first thing we learn the battle in this truth. All right. Then, secondly, all right, our arch nemesis in this physical realm, all right, it's the so-called white man, not your fellow Israelite brother, okay? It's the so-called white man. The reason you drunk off of hip-hop culture, all right, when hip-hop was originally created, it had positive rap tunes, okay? It was positive music, all right? The reason it has turned dark and just been degeneratorized, if that's a word, is because the so-called white man, and we're about to prove it. We're about to prove it.
Something was used against the students.
We're going to look at these two clips, and we're going to funnel these two clips through the scriptures to show that what's going on amongst our people is all by design. All right, our people learn how to be degenerates from looking at the TV. In the 80s, they gave us gangster rap, NBA. They gave us Boys in the Hood, those movies, Men of Society, right behind them. All right, and that stuff switched a whole generation, our whole generation of people, into wanting to kill each other. In the 70s, it was more that it was on a macking and pimping vibration, wearing afros and bell bottoms, and it was about snorting coke, going to the disco, and pimping hoes. Okay, they called it black exploitation films. All right, not then, but black people wasn't just killing each other. You know, you could go to a neighborhood. The neighborhood was still well manicured. All right, it wasn't like just a fucking cesspool. All right, now in the modern times, he's given us degeneracy. The music has got more degeneratorized with the rap. Okay, and we're gonna see that all of this is by design. It's a well planned cunning weapon that's used to tear down the nation of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Native Americans, and people of Hispanic descent. This was a war tactic. Okay, when you read Genesis, let me get that. Our arch nemesis, he's a hunter. Okay, Yahweh Shema Shai Barakatah. Let me get a quick scripture right fast. All right, the spirit that the Heavenly Father put in our arch nemesis, he's a hunter, and he's good at what he does. All right, this is Genesis 25. Let me get straight to the point. All right. Where's that precept? All right. This is Genesis 25 and 25. And the first came out red, the so-called white man. All right. The reason the scripture called him red because he had no melanination. All right. You could the blood in the skin came forth where you could see it, like so-called white people. All right. And they say he was red all over like a hairy garment. All right. So he's a red man. He's not a so-called white man. And they called his name Esau. And Esau means to be wasted away as heat. All right. When a person dies, a person's skin, a person, when they're sick on a dying bed, they start waxing pale. Okay. That's how the so-called white man looks naturally. All right. And after that came his brother out, and he took on hold of his heel. And his name was called Jacob. Isaac was born, was three score years old when she bare them. All right. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field. All right. So a cunning hunter knows how to devise devices to catch his prey. He knows how to lay snares, traps to catch his prey and subdue them. Okay. He's good at what he's doing, and he's been doing this since the beginning. All right. Now let's see what one of his snares he set for our people. I'm gonna let this one play.
The final nails into the coffin, killing the movement. What stopped it, of course, almost dead in its track, and not by any accident, was a widespread and deliberately organized widespread use of drugs.
All right. Now let's look at this. He said this is what stopped our people from going forth and being successful in America. He said it was deliberately organized. All right. He said this wasn't an accident, something that happened by default. He said this is something that was deliberately organized. All right. And when we look at the crack epidemic, the cocaine epidemic, you can't go nowhere in America and find cocoa trees and heroin, poppy leaves growing in America. All right. And during those times, our people did not have resources to bring heroin in by the ton, cocaine in by the ton. All right. That's something that had to be done with somebody with resources, and have airplanes, boats, okay, ways to get that poison up in this nation. And the so-called white man did this on purpose. Okay, he's the one that flew and bought the tons of the heroin and the tons of the cocaine here in America, and he did this deliberately. And we're going to see who he wanted to get these drugs.
The fact that a decision was made, and I think most of you familiar with the broadcast of the mafia, defector who went on public media to declare what happened and outline in great detail the great plan of how to destroy the black youth of the nation, starting in New York.
So the black youth of the nation, all right, have been manipulated. They've been played. They've been duped. All right. Naturally, if they didn't have this outer influence that comes from watching TV and glorifying pimps, players, hustlers, drug dealers, they naturally would not want to kill one another. All right. This cunning devised plan from this cunning hunter is what has tricked the youth to whack one another and commit genocide in astronomical numbers from the 1980s until now. And it's all by design. And we're going to see who designed this plan.
He said in a meeting 20 miles outside of New York City, the great decision was made. He said he didn't have to guess about it. And those who heard him know that I'm quoting him almost verbatim, because he was there. And the decision was to concentrate the distribution of drugs on the black youth of the nation, starting in New York.
All right. And when they started in New York, before the crack epidemic in the 70s, they was pumping heroin in the neighborhoods to destroy them. But heroin wasn't destroying it as fast as they wanted it to. All right. When you look at Nicky Barnes, what's that other degenerate nigga that people glorify before Nicky Barnes? Damn, I think Showtime will star one of them. What's that dude name? The gangster on the movie. What's this nigga name? On the movie Hoodlum. I forget who Lawrence Fishburne played. I forgot the nigga name, man. Anyway, during those niggas, they were pumping the dope in the communities to get paid. All right. Bumpy Johnson. All right. From Bumpy Jumpers on down, you had drug peddlers, pieces of shit, selling drugs to their own people. They wasn't selling it to other races, other nations. They was pumping it in Harlem. It started in Harlem. All right. And all this was by design. All right. Then they switched up from that to the crack. Okay. And it's all for design to destroy our youth, destroy us, and keep us in a position of servitude where they could look at us and laugh at us like they're doing to this day.
In New York, beginning in the elementary school, and that to punish, even on the pain of death, any of the distributors who invaded the white community.
Say if you that was the rule. Pump that dope in the black communities, and if one of those distributors, one of those drug dealers, come to the white community and start and try to sell it, hey, off with his head, throw him away for life. All right, that was the plan from the beginning.
Predominantly white school. The New York and other large cities were to be divided up into districts. The district commander, black, was to be given any kind of car he wanted. Mercedes, Rolls Royce, anything. Because this would be a part of the sales pitch. Blacks just love buying cars. He drive around through the community in his fine car. And some of his Kia systems. And he'd be identified, be known, that sort of stuff. And so stories, I'm not going to get farther into it. But thus it began and the spread over the country. And we fell for it. Now, one thing was important. That the thing to attract the blacks, more than any other thing, more than the drug itself, but to spread the word, have a number of key young people in it, and spread the word that this is the end thing. So that'll get them. Just say it's the end thing, and they'll brave the fires of hell to be a part of the end thing.
So that's our story of the decade of struggle. We put together this film to pay particular homage and tribute to the extraordinary young people of that era. And we give the story to our young people of today in particular, in the hope that they'll stop and think about much of the negativism that they're caught up in nowadays and try to understand.
All right. Now look, this end thing he's talking about, that he say that will be more flamboyant than the drugs itself that would get the people aroused to want to partake in it. Let's see what that is. This is another clip. Let's connect the dots. This went hand in hand with the drugs.
Retired CIA agent John Homeston admitted this week that the CIA was behind the creation of gangster rap in the 80s in order to glamorize criminal behavior and fill private prisons. The US government spent vast sums of money on this covert operation, which was designed to create division and corrupt the American youth to nihilist, anti-American ideologies. According to the former agent, famous hip-hop lyrics of the legendary hip-hop outfit NWA were scripted by a team of psychologists and war propagandists inside the CIA, the police, and other.
Gangster rap was scripted by psychologists and war propaganda experts. You see what I'm saying? It's a war against us, and we are not the enemy. Their plan was to get us to kill each other and and get the Ku Klux Klan out of the equation, so you can't say white on black crime. And the whole scheme was to use these niggas. These are sellouts. Rappers are trash. Rappers are piece of shit. And the Most High is taking their luster away from them now. He's using that nigga. Even though he a degenerate his damn self, Charleston White. What he's doing, he is exposing these guys to a certain extent. But we've been doing it through Spirit and Power, Yahweh Shema Shah, way before he came on the scene. This is the innovators of gangster rap. They use these guys right here. And these guys are homosexuals too. Dr. Dre was a homosexual back then. These are actors. These guys weren't even living their life, man. Easy, he probably was, all right? He probably was really living life, but the rest of these dudes, they were actors, okay? And wartime propagandists and psychologists set these guys up to lead our people astray. These guys are put here to promote death, black on black crime, violence, shooting one another with Uzis and calicos, and promote drug use and drug dealings. Okay, that's all the rap. That's all their music was: pimping, hoeing, adultery, and murder, killing. All right. Now, why would these psychologists come together to put this together? You got to remember, he's a hunter, and we're the prey. They say Esau was a cunning hunter. So his devices that he concocted, he's done this to keep us down so we never know our nationality, so we never come to the truth of the scriptures, all right? So all of these things we're seeing was all set up by design by our arch nemesis, all right? And our arch nemesis is the so-called white man. We're going to get to it. We got to go down this wormhole.
Were intended to unleash a wave of cynicism towards authorities, promote the use of narcotics, and glamorize the gangster life in the minds of impressionable young people. The CIA worked in tandem with the music industry elites to create a funnel in which young people would be indoctrinated with brainwashing gangster rap music, introduced to a life of crime, and then delivered to the highly profitable private prison system. In order to create this funnel, the CIA introduced music industry owners to the private prison industry. Once the funnel was in place, the system was a lock. Watch this.
I wonder why you see the same stereotypes of black and brown people depicted in hip-hop music. What if I told you that some of the biggest music companies are in cahoots with private prison owners? That the rap music we listen to is not only meant to entertain, but to verbally and visually support criminal behaviors that funnel disenfranchised people into these private prisons. Lastly, what if I told you I have proof? In 2012, CORSIC, formerly known as Corrections Corporation of America, the biggest name in the private prison industry, contacted 48 states offering to buy their prisons. One requirement of eligibility for the deal was particularly strange: an assurance by the agency partner that the agency has sufficient inmate population to maintain a minimum 90% occupancy rate over the term of the contract. Wait, right? What? What kind of legal and ethical measures could be taken to ensure?
And when you do the numbers and the stats in America, so-called Negro and the tribe of so-called Negro, Native, and the so-called Latinos, they 80% of the prison system. All right, so this because so-called white man is like 10%. He's like 10%. I don't even think he's 10% of the penal system here in America. All right, so this cunning device this cunning device scheme is directed towards you so-called Negroes, Native Americans, and people of Hispanic descent. It's by design, all right? The person that set this trap is not your brother. It's not a man that look like you, all right? These are billionaire tycoons, trillionaire tycoons who have created an arena for you to fall from birth, okay? He set a trap and laid a snare for you to fall from birth, okay? Let me get a precept right fast. A quick precept. This is the book of Micah. I went the wrong way. It's the book of Micah, chapter 2. We'll start from the top. All right. And it reads, woe to him that devises iniquity. All right. These are devised plans. When you read 2 Corinthians, the second chapter, it say the elect men are not ignorant of Satan's devices. This is one of his devices. He give you rap music for your children to emulate what they see and hear on the rap videos, and the behavior that they're going to display from taking in that poison is going to end up getting them in a graveyard or a penitentiary. All right. And that device was concocted by the so-called white man. And they work evil upon their beds. What we're looking is an evil that was worked upon the beds of the elites, Amalek. All right. These so-called Jews. And when the morning is light, they practice it because it's in the power of their hand. When you read Job, the book of Job, it clearly says that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. All right. So the so-called white man is the the wicked that rule the planet Earth right now. He controls every media outlet here in America. He controls all of the distribution companies here in America. All right. He controls all of Hollywood. All right. He's the one that says he controls the fashion industry. He decides what type of genre, what type of music is going to be pumped to the youth. All right. He decides what's going to be the new style. All right. He's deciding these things. He has the power to do these things. Okay. He's the one doing it. And they covet fields. All right. And they're coveting the promises that the Heavenly Father gave to the nation of Israel. That's why he's coming down on us so hard. All right. He knows what's in that promise. All right. What's in that birthright that he gave up. And they take them by violence. And what happened now? All right. And they take them by violence. So they oppress a man in his house and a man in his heritage. See, they want our heritage. All right. They want to control our houses. Okay. And so they concoct these wicked ass devices that we're hearing about right here. All right. There's more. It gets worse.
Ensure the maintenance of a 90% prison occupancy rate. Now let's work together to connect these things. I'm sure you're a smart person. It won't be long. Let's do the work. In 2012, a mere 232 media executives were responsible for the intake of 277 million Americans controlling all avenues necessary to manufacture any celebrity and spark any trend. Time Warner, as the owner of Warner Brothers Records, can not only sign an artist.
You see? All these trends and styles, the wearing the blonde wigs, putting on the cum bucket eyelashes, the cum lashes, the skinny jean wearing, all the skull shirts, all that shit. He controls all that. Skulls represent death. This is a culture of death. Who wants to wear a shirt with skulls on it? All right? And hearts. The hearts represent love. That's in America. You know, that's the symbology. And the skulls represent death. So when they make these shirts with the heart right here on the side and the death, that means you love death. They love death. All right? Just think about it. Psychology. Who wants to wear something with skulls on it? You wouldn't do that in your righteous mind. But when he puts it on the TV and puts some puppet nigga up there, and he's got gold chains on with skulls on, and they tell you this the style, this how you need to be, all right? This is what's cool. Then everybody do it. Cut your hair, bleach your hair green, put on mohawks and shit. He's controlling this. He's controlling all the trends, the styles, okay? Because he's controlling what goes on the TV. This is your enemy. This is the devil the Bible speaks of in Job, the 9th chapter.
But since they're also owners of Entertainment Weekly, they can also put an artist on the cover by next week. You think you choose what you listen to, but do you? Both BET and MTV belong to Viacom. Okay, now I know that's not news to some, but when the use of these media conglomerates is cross-checked with ownership of the biggest names in prison privatization, it's starting to get a little fishy. The largest holder in Core Civic, formerly Corrections Corp of America, is Vanguard Group Incorporated. Vanguard is the #1 largest holder in both Viacom and Time Warner. Vanguard is also the largest holder in the GEO Group, the second largest owner of private prisons in the U.S. The overlap in private prison / mass media ownership is disturbing. Let's make this clear. The people who own the media are the same people who own private prisons.
Let's see who this Vanguard people is. All right? They're the one financing all this shit. All right? So let's go to this devil. All right? This devil name is John Clifton Jack Boogie. Was an American investor, business magnate, a philanthropist. He was the founder of the chief executive of the Vanguard Group and recreating the index fund. All right. An avid investor and money manager himself, he preached investment over speculation, long-term patience over short-term action, and reducing broker fees as much as possible. All right. Now, these people loan to businesses in corporate America, all right, for what? For these people to start certain businesses and start thriving. But in turn, when you invest in something, guess what? You become a part owner. So you can call shots, right? Now check this shit out. This dude is just a fucking front man. Watch this. This dude, because when you look at it, it says nothing about him being a Jew. Because that's what we're going to end up. We're going to end up at Amalek. They say this guy was born in New Jersey, and he grew up during the Great Depression. All right? His father was a fucking alcoholic, so he grew up in poverty, okay? In New Jersey, all right? And he rose up through the cracks, okay? So you're like, that's not, that's not the background of your typical Jew that's running shit during that time period. All right, they had already accumulated their wealth during the time he was born. All right, where they was running shit. So let me get to the point right here. In his investment career, in 1974. Boogie founded the Vanguard Group, which is one of the most respected, successful companies in the investment in the world. Now, you just seen dudes say that the Vanguard Group finances private prisons, all right, and it also finances a great part of the music that you hear on the radio, all right. This is who finances it. This fucking piece of shit company right here, owned by so-called white men. But we're gonna see which white men. All right, it's gonna funnel back to Kanye West. In 1999, Fortune magazine named Bogle as one of the 4 investment giants in the 20th century. In 1976, influenced by the works of Paul Samuelson, Bogle created the first index investment trust as a precursor of the Vanguard 500 index fund, as the first index mutual fund available to the public. It was not immediately well recovered by individuals or the investment industry, but now lauded by the investment legend Warren Buffett, and among others. All right. In 2005, Samuelson ranked the Bogle invention, along with the invention of the wheel, the alphabet Gutenberg printing. All right. Now watch this. Now watch this shit to show you this guy here, who they say is the owner. He's really not the fucking owner. All right. Check this shit out. He's just a front man of Vanguard. All right. Let me get straight to the point. I want to get straight to the point. All right. Consider that Vanguard says it today. Hold up. Let me go up a little higher. So I did have it at the right place. All right, here we go. The Vanguard Group, as he structured it, is talking about Bogle, who they say is the owner of the Vanguard Group, all right, who's financing all of these wicked entities, was owned by its mutual funds, all right? So Bogle don't own anything. It's owned by the mutual funds, all right? Which were owned in turn by fund shareholders and dedicated to low-cost investing. So he didn't even have the money to get the business started. He started the business through shareholders, other people's money. Okay? He was paid well. He's a front man. Check this shit out. He was paid well and argued what would be a great fortune for most of us. He told me last year his assets were well below 100 million. So it got motherfucking basketball and football players worth more than 100 million. But it's small change by standards of money management. All right. If he started if his business that he started and he's the owner of it has accumulated trillions, how is he worth less than $100 million? All right. And to be worth $100 million for a front man, hey, that's good dealing. All right. That ain't bad. He did good. But don't portray him up like he's the mover and shaker saying he invented this. He started this. This was his company. It's total bullshit. Consider that Vanguard says today it has 4.9 trillion under management. So this is a business worth trillions of dollars. If Jack Bogle and his heirs were the main shareholders of a company as large and profitable as Vanguard, they should surely be billionaires many times over, but they're not. They barely have 100 million. Okay. Jack was proud he was not a billionaire, though he didn't say so publicly. All right. So we just seen who they say Vanguard is the number one investor in private prisons and this hip hop rap bullshit. Okay. This guy who they has as the front man is not even the owner. So who are the owners? All right. To show you, man, Kanye West hit it on the nail, but we already knew that. We've been teaching that shit before Kanye West was teaching it. Let's see what let's see who those fucking shellholes are. Our arch fucking nemesis, man. All right? Now, listen to this, okay? Listen to this bullshit. All right? This is from the Jerusalem Post. All right? And its title is COVID Agenda COVID agenda is Jewish. Anti-Semitic flower Marybone Synagogue. Hey, I'm tired of this. Hey, let me break down right fast. You see, when a lot of our people hear this anti-Semitic, they don't know what Semitic mean. They don't know what it's from. They don't know shit. All right, all they know is these are the Jews. These are the Jews. No. Let's break down what Semitic is, okay? This has to be done. We here to feed the nation with knowledge and wisdom, man. We are here to overturn stumbling blocks, tear down strongholds, all right? Teach what's duly noted in the scripture of truth, all right? This is Genesis 6 and verse 10, all right? And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. All right, this is word Shem. All right, right here is where the word where these devils get Semitic. All right, okay, and they say whenever you talk about a so-called Jew, you're anti-Semitic, and the people that hear that don't understand what they're hearing. Now let's break down what Shemitic really is, because yes, Judah derived from Shem. Shem is a forefather of Judah. All right, and his patriarchs. Okay, but let's break it down. Let's break this down accurately. I'm gonna go to let me go over a few chapters. This anti-Semitic bullshit. All right, you anti-Semitic when you talk about other races under the earth. All right. Now that's Shem, the patriarch of the Jews. All right. This is Genesis 10, and I'm gonna go down to 21. All right. Now let's get this. Unto Shem, also the father of the children of Eber. All right. Now when you look up this word Eber means Hebrew. From young. This is where the word Hebrew is derived from. Eber. All right? And they say he's the father of all the children of the Heber. All right? The father of all of them. So this is what you got to understand. If he's the father of all the children of Eber, you got to see who the sons of Eber are. All right? The brother of Japheth, the elder son, with the children are born. Okay? The children of Shem was Elam. All right. So when the children of Shem was Elam. So when you talk shit to an East Indian, Elam in these modern times is the nation you know as East Indians. When the British came into India, all right, fucking with Gandhi and them, oppressing them, telling them how to rule their nation, they were being anti-Semitic. Okay? They were being anti-Semitic. When you go to Arphaxad, that's one of our patriarchs. When that goes all the way down to the lineage. You follow him all the way down to the lineage of our great king. Okay, Arphaxad. All right, and the children of Aram, Uz, Hol, Gather, Mash. Arphaxad beget Salah, and Salah beget Eber. And Eber is the father of the Hebrews. Now let's see who the Hebrews. All right, and Eber were born 2 sons. The name of was Pegleg. For his days was the earth divided. That's during the time of the flood. Pegleg lived during the time of the flood when they say the earth was divided and the languages got divided. No. Salakia. Eber lived during the time that the Most High during the time of Nimrod when he confused the languages. Everybody was speaking Hebrew, and then he confused the tongues so all the nations couldn't come together in unison. That show you that the Most High was against universalism. Right there. That's like Genesis, the 11th chapter. I think it's like the next chapter. And his brother name was Joktan. All right, let's keep going down. All right. All right. And it says, you go all the way down, and these are the sons of Shem and their families and their tongues and their lands and their nations. All right. So look, these are the families of the sons of Noah after their generations and their nations, by who these were nations were divided. All right. Now let me go. So from Eber, the father of the Hebrews, to Pegleg, and look at all these sons. Look at all these people. All right. All of these people that you're reading right here, all right, and Jerah and Hadaram and Ozel and Decalah and Abal and Abamel and Sheba and Ophir and Havilah and Jobah, all these were the son of Joktan, and their dwelling was from Mesa, and thou goest into Sephir, a mount of the east. These are the son of Shem and all their families. So, hey, the son of Shem is vast. It's just not, it just does not go down to the tribe of Judah, all right? It does not go down to the tribe of Judah. Let's prove it. Let's prove it right real fast. All right? This is the book of Luke, 3rd chapter. All right. This is the lineage of our great king. Everybody that you see on this lineage is Shemitic. Everybody, not just Judah. Everybody. All right? Not everybody, from Noah on down, Salaki. All right? Now, let's start right here. And Noah was the son of and Noah, all right, you got to read it backward. Noah was the father of Shem. Shem was the father of Arphaxad. Arphaxad is the father of Canaan, which was the son of Canaan. Canaan was the father of Salah, all right? And Salah was the father of Eber. See right here, say Eber. This is the father of the Hebrews, and we're going to see who all were Hebrews, all right? Which was the father of Phalek, which was the father of Ragu, which was the father of Sarak, which was the father of Nachor, which was the father of Terah, which was the father of Abraham. All right. So Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were all Shemitic. Now let's look at Abraham. Abraham had like 6 sons. All right. But let's deal with 2 of them. Abraham had a son named Ishmael. Guess what? The Arabs, they're Shemitic. So when you're going over there bombing Tel Aviv, not Tel Aviv, like when you're bombing over there, bombing Iraq, all right, and you bombing a lot of those Arab countries, you're being anti-Semitic, man. All right? Jacob, the so-called white man. When you go to Isaac and his 2 sons, Jacob and Esau, Esau is Shemitic. All right? Jacob's Shemitic and Esau is Shemitic. Himself is Shemitic. They're not going to teach you what really what Semitic is. All right? You have millions of races under the suns that are millions of people under the earth that are getting violated, that are of the Lord, that come from the loins of Shem. The so-called East Indians are Shemitic. The so-called white people, you're Shemitic. Who else? The so-called East Indians, Shemitic. The so-called Chinese people, they're Shemitic. Lot was a cousin of Abraham. So the 2 sons of Lot, Moab, the so-called Chinese, and Ammon, the so-called Japanese, are all Shemitic. When you drop that fucking bomb in Nagasaki and Hiroshima, you are being anti-Semitic, according to your words. He's not going to enlighten you and teach you the truth like that. All right? He's just going to manipulate it. He's going to play on your top, play on your ignorances. That's one of Satan's devices. That's one of his greatest weapons, playing on your lack of knowledge, your ignorances. And that way he can manipulate you better, okay? That's what he does, okay? So where was I? All right, I was over here. All right, so we see that the guy, the front man who they say own the Vanguard doesn't own them. And these shareholders that own the Vanguard, this is what we are the so-called fucking Jews, my friend. The devils that rule the world. Now here we go. Listen to this article. List Australia. Hold on. This is where it started. All right, this is where it started. Wait, no. All right. The flyer lists Australian CDC members with Jewish backgrounds on their names as a form of evidence for the claim that every single aspect of COVID agenda is Jewish. And this is the truth. It's the truth. Now listen to this. Listen to this. Okay? Come on now, don't start fucking up. All right, here goes the article. Anti-Semitic found out what the true Semitic is. Semitic, what is derived. All right, they're using it. Okay, using it to fulfill their enlightened on what Semitic means. Then you be like, oh man, everybody's okay. Everybody's in the known world of movers and shakers, the Arabs, the Indians, all right, in this melting pot, all right, they could scream anti-Semitic when you fuck over them too. An anti-Semitic flyer placed on the front steps of a Melbourne synagogue this week, claiming that the coronavirus pandemic is an elaborate conspiracy procured by Jewish people, which it is. All right. Now they're going to scream conspiracy theories, but it's the truth. You can't ignore facts. Even in this clip, it's true. Watch. I'm going to show you. A religious Jewish woman found that the flyer at the Sassoon Yehuda, supposed to say Yahweh, Judah synagogue in the heart of the religious Jewish community of the city. The woman was the granddaughter of Holocaust survivors. Whoop-de-doo, Holocaust survivors. All right. Here it is, our people in just Atlantic slave trade, the Atlantic, the transatlantic ride coming over here is estimated that 60 to 80 million people that just coming on voyage all those years. And you talking about so-called Jews that get slaughtered? This is a lie. But hey, I'm supposed to be politically correct. They'll take this video down for that. All right. But you got to look into that. You got to research that too. Okay. Everything. You got to, what's that? The guy dead. He was Edom. I think he was a J. He said you got to test everything. Question everything. What that dude, that white boy name is? I hated his ass. He was a comedian. He say, when America tells you something, question everything. Damn, I forgot his name. I hate when that happens. All right. The flyer lists Australian CDC members whose backgrounds or names as a form of evidence for the claim that every single aspect of the COVID agenda is Jewish. Okay. See also who they name in it. Okay. Among the names listed were Robert Capitito, founder president of the New York-based investment management firm BlackRock, and Jug J. Buckley, CEO of the Vanguard Group. All right, there goes that Vanguard Group again. The flyer then claims these two companies are the two largest shareholders of both Pfizer, GSK Place, and a British multinational pharmaceutical company. Okay? Now look, this is somebody that's going against the rules and they name drop people. You know fucking well that these shareholders that owns Vanguard Group, because they got trillions of dollars, but they got at the forerunner that they say is the owner and operator. He's only worth $100 million. So you know these shareholders of the Vanguard Group are these so-called Jews. Okay, that's why this guy with this person with this name drop their ass. All right, companies are the two largest shareholders. Vanguard Group is the one that's over the business and over hip hop. Okay. Now look how they word this. The flyer then claims these two companies are the largest shareholders of both Pfizer and GSK Plus. All right. Then claims. What the fuck you mean? Then claims. This is how we don't get tripped up by the so-called white man. He's asserting as if when he say then claim, like this is factual. When you look it up, they are the shareholders in Pfizer and GSK. But look how they write it up. The then claims that these two companies are. Now look, this Jerusalem Post know this, but this is the games they play. The play on words, the weaponizing words. When you read this sentence, it's like these people tripping and they're just being anti-Semitic and they're just coming against us. They claiming that we finance Pfizer. They claiming that we finance Atlantic slave trade. And then you could go back and look up who financed Pfizer, and you could go back and look up who financed the Atlantic slave trade. So if you don't know that, and you just take heed to this like a dumb nigga would do, you would think that they're telling the truth. So let's go see who's Pfizer. Who are those shares? All right, show you this clip is full of shit. And the person that's calling them out is telling the truth. All right. This is the top Pfizer. Like all the things that's going on the earth, these people are behind it. All right. Here we go. On August 23rd, 2021, the U.S. Drug and Food Administration approved the Pfizer biotech COVID-19 vaccine, which is now being marketed as Comirnaty. Previously, the vaccine was only approved under emergency use authorization. It became the first vaccine against COVID-19 that gained full approval from the FDA. The vaccine continues to be available under EUA, including for individuals between 12 and 15. Pfizer's 12-month net income revenue is $13.2 billion, all right, and $51.6 billion, respectively. The company's market cap is $248 billion. These financial data are of September 16, 2021. Stop it, devil. All right, let me get to the point. All right. The three individual inside shareholders are Frank Amadeo, John Douglas, Michael Dolson. All right. Top three institutional shareholders. Here we go. That Vanguard Group. There they go again. So look at this. When you go back to here, when screaming anti-Semitic, and you read this verse right here. This verse right here. The flyer then claims these two companies are the two largest shareholders of both Pfizer and GPS PLC, a British multi-pharmaceutical. They're implying when you read the language and the way it's getting pushed out, you would think that it's not true. But then you go right here, see, all right, the Vanguard Group owns 456 million shares of Pfizer. representing 8.1% of total shares outstanding, according to the company's 13 filing of the period ending June 30 and 12. They show you, man, these people are devils, man. All right? These people are devils. Now check them out. These are the people running everything, man. Every fucking thing. Medicine you eat, the music you hear, the music you foods you get, the food you eat, they hand us everything. It also claimed these companies control the MSM mainstream media. Now you see how we just went and proved that? All right, you can go and get this proved that these Jewish companies do own mainstream media. Look how he's trying to deliver this as if it's a lie. All right, as if it's a lie. They do. Just like I went and found out that right now and find out that and show you how, and there's plenty of clips on YouTube where it's been proven beyond reasonable doubt that that's who controlling these media outlets, the so-called Jews. All right. So these are your enemies, man. All right. These are your enemies right here. All right. Not your brother. These devils right here. Okay. This is Amalek. Let's get Amalek in the scriptures, man. Let's get it. Let's get this nigga. Let's get him. This is the book of Numbers. Let's funnel this boy through the scripture. That's all he is a boy. Women have surpassed the men, and children are ruling over us. These are children in the eyes of Yahweh Shema Shai. And they're here we go. This is Deuteronomy Salaki. This is Numbers 24 and 17. All right. And the Lord made a heathen prophesy in favor of the nation of Israel in its final hour. This is for the last days. Okay. I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not now. Therefore shall come a star of Jacob. This time about our great king, Yahweh Shai. And a scepter shall rise out of Israel. A scepter represents kingship, or royalty and dominion. Okay. And shall smite the corner of Moab. Because that's who think they're going to rule next. These Chinese think they're going to rule next. They think America and Russia's going to whack each other, and they think they're going to rule up to world domination. No, our great king going to take the crown off your head and take the dominion away from you too, according to Revelation, the 19th chapter. And they shall destroy all the children of Sheph and eat them. The so-called white man shall be a possession. You see how we're in their possession? They are ruling over us. All right? They're feeding us this poisonous wine and have our nation in derision. All right, the tables are going to turn. Seir shall also be a possession for his enemies. This is our arch enemies, the so-called white man, the nation of Edom. And they're going to be our possession, man. We're going to have them in hardcore slavery like they have done to us. All right, and Israel shall do valiantly. All right, what is talking about valiantly? When we go to war, going to overtake our enemies. We're going to war. World War III is for us to rise up from the ashes, Kwam Yasharallah, okay, and overtake our enemies through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai when he lift up that standard and give us these spiritual powers. Out of Jacob shall come he that shall have dominion. Matthew 28 and the 28th chapter, the 18th verse, our great king say, all power has been given to me in heaven and earth. So our great king has the dominion. He has all power. All right. And he's going to share it with his servants, because when you read Romans 8 and 17, it say that the elect shall be joint heirs with Yahweh Shema Shai. So if we are joint heirs with our great king, we're going to have the dominion. We're going to have scepters too. All right. Matthew the 19th chapter say we're going to be sitting on thrones judging, man. Okay. And shall destroy him that remain of the city. And when he looked on Amalek, all right, we about to see who Amalek is, okay? These are these Jewish rats that control everything, that own everything. This is the chief house in Esau. This is the chief clan in the Esau. Like when you look at the nation of Israel, we got 12 tribes, 12 clans, right? The chief house in the nation of Israel is the house of Judah, bar none. All right? And the chief house is supposed to be for the eldest son. But how did the fourth oldest son get it? Let's see. When you read Genesis, the 49th chapter, it said Reuben couldn't get it because Reuben transgressed against his father. He went and dealt with his father's concubine, went totally off. So that disqualified him from being the chief house. Then you got Levi and Simeon. What did they do to get themselves disqualified? They went and killed. They went and made war against the people without their father's command. All right. They basically went AWOL. What AWOL mean run away. They basically, when they started a war, without getting their general's permission. You can't do that. You can't do that. When they went, they had righteous intent, like what they did to their sister, but their father Jacob wasn't going to handle it the way that they handled it. So you disobeyed direct orders. So that took them away from getting that double portion that the oldest son get. So the lot fell on Judah, the fourth oldest. Okay? He's the fourth oldest. He's the chief house of Israel. He's the chief tribe. All right? You so-called Negroes. That's why we're down so low, because to much is given, much is expected. All right? And Edom shall be, and not get off the topic, when you go to Esau, you have different clans of Esau. All right? And the chief clan is Amalek, the so-called Jews. All right? They the worst of the worst. They the slimiest motherfuckers you could ever be right around. Them little hats, the guys in New York that wear the little hats, they got the little so-called Jewish community with the little shit hanging down off the side of their beards. All right? And all of them don't dress like that. All right? The corporate ones don't even move like that. And when he looked on Amalek, he took up his parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations. All right? The last shall come first and the first shall come last. All right? He's going to be last. But his latter end shall be that he shall perish forever. And the way he's going to perish forever, we're going to put their asses in slavery. Okay? And now let's get a glimpse of who our enemy is. So-called black man. It's these people. These are the movers and shakers. This is Lord Jacob's Rothschild. He's the Baron, Lord Jacob's Rothschild. Let me see. Let's get the word Baron means. All right? These people, this guy right here is worth 500 trillion, nigga. I call him nigga. That's how, you know that's how we be talking and shit. All right? But Salaki for that. I'm not calling nobody looking at this a nigga. All right? Slip of the tongue. A member of the Lord's order of British nobility. The term baron is not used as a form of address in Britain. Barons usually being referred as Lord. All right, and that's what his name is. That's what his name means, Lord. All right. Damn. I am the member of the Lord's order of British nobility. All right. Well, he's Baron Lord Jacob Rothschild. All right. I don't think he the lords of he's not the lords of his household. All right. I think he's second in command under Evelyn. He's second in command. All right. He ain't the lords of nobility shit, but they call him Lord Jacob's Rothschild. Look like Mr. Burns off of Bart Simpson. That character is created for him. That's him. That is him. Right? These are the movers and shakers in the planet Earth. The reason the Earth is fucked up is because of these guys. All right? This is Evelyn. This is number one. Top dog. He number one. Evelyn Rothschilds. All right? He's number one. This is the king of the world right now. All right? Nothing goes on without him knowing. All right? This is the guy that's starting all the wars, finances both sides of the war. The Russians need money. Here, come get it from me. The Americans need money. Here, come get it from me. Chinese need money. Here, I supply it to you. All right. This who controls all of the wealth, on the vast majority of the wealth on the planet Earth. Evelyn Rothschild. Okay. These are our enemies. These are our arch nemesis. The house of Amalek. Okay. He don't look like nigga you grew up with. He don't look like you. This who you supposed to be. And you know, we're not pushing that, but I'm like, if you're gonna kill somebody, this who you supposed to be killing. No, and we're not pushing that. We you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Our wars, our weapons of war, not carnal. But you Jake that's killing each other. All right. This is the man that builds the arena so you can kill each other. He's the man that has bewitched you to kill each other. Okay? Him. This nigga. This is your enemy. The so-called white man. These men in suits and ties. This Prince Henry. All right? Prince Charles, Salakia. All right? These people. These are the people that love to see you killing each other. All right? These devils. Number 1 and 2. Look at his wife. Look like a fucking devil. Okay? This David D. Rothschild, all right? It's a bunch of them. Look at them. And they control the presidents. The presidents don't have no power. All right? The presidents go to these guys to find out what to do. The presidents takes orders from these guys. Presidents are front men like the guy that's the front man of the Vanguard group. All right? The CEO of the Vanguard group has no power. The CEO of the Black Rock Group, they have no power. It's those shareholders. These are those shareholders right here. These are the ones that have the real money. The Vanguard Group is worth $4.7 trillion. And then when you read up on other clips, it even goes up to $7 trillion. All right? The front man ain't worth $100 million. So the front man ain't no founder or nothing. Like it says. All right. Look, that's a Jewish rabbi. These are the identity thieves. They're trying to steal our identity. We the true Jews, but they say they are. So they're gonna stop free speech because the truth is coming out too much and they can't take it. All right. This is your enemy, so-called black man. These are your enemies. This who wants you dead. This who wants your mother dead. This who has broken up the Negro home, the so-called Negro home. This is, look, his family together. They taking portraits. All right? The black home is broken. Look, these women don't buck up against these men. These women not in these dudes' houses talking about gender equality. You know what these dudes do? They women when these women do buck up against them, they women come up missing. They come up dead. They don't have that problem. Ain't no bands in they houses in order. They don't have no woman telling them what she ain't gonna do or what she ain't gonna do. When they women buck up against them, they women come up dead. No trial, no search for the body. They just disappear. These guys are above the law. Not the law of Yahweh Shema Shai. They gonna read with their songs, but the law here in society, they are above the law. They can come in your community, get you killed, and don't go to trial. Ain't no police about to fuck with them or nothing. These are the true meaning of untouchables. These are untouchables until the Most High touch their ass. Okay? I'm gonna play a little bit more of this guy because this guy's telling you the truth who your enemy is, man. Then I'm gonna finish it off with scriptures. Okay? I'm gonna let him roll a little bit more. So you see the Vanguard group, okay? So-called Jews is ruling everything. Everything ill going on amongst our nation.
CIA agent John Homestead
Come on, we got farther than that.
CIA was behind the creation of gangster rap.
Let's get back to where we were. when he was talking about the Vanguard.
Next week, you think you choose what you listen to, but do you? Both BET and MTV belong to Viacom. Okay, now I know that's not news to some, but when the use of these media conglomerates,
BET and MTV is an integral part of our people's demise. I grew up off of BET and MTV. I was too dupe. I was poison. All right. I was glamour. That shit. I was glamorized. I glamorized that shit. NWA didn't pull me in. When I grew up, what pulled me in was Snoop Dogg. In NWA, I grew up. My older brother was listening to NWA, so I listened to NWA growing up. But I wasn't worried about being no thug. I was playing soccer and basketball. I liked the music though. Fuck the police. I grew up. Easy does it. I grew up off all that shit. But that didn't reel me in. When I got like the 7th grade, when Snoop Dogg came in, that's what started making me want to be a thug. Snoop Dogg, that wicked motherfucker. When I got that Dog Pound album, it ain't no fun if the homies can't have that whole album. I knew every lyric. Dog Pounds in the house. All right, that's when I started wanting to be a thug. That's when I got glamorized. That Snoop Dogg album, Dog House. I think that's what it was. The Dog House. That bitch went platinum. I think that bitch went a couple times platinum. All right. This is for the G's. This is for the hustlers. This is for the hustlers. Now back to the G's. Had ease. You know what I'm saying? That's that shit. When they got into me, I started. My parents, my mother used to buy us Dockers. She'll get us Dockers, polo shirts. We'll be tucking that shit in. We was like little preps. My mama dressed us up like preps. We would wear Dockers, polos, plaited shorts with polos, button-down shirts and shit. That's how we dress. And athletic wear, okay? When I started getting into that shit, I started telling her to buy me Dickies and Chucks. That show you how fucked up I was. And the flannel jackets they used to wear. I had every color Dickie, every color Chucks. And what we don't know, them dudes was dressing like that because they couldn't afford Dockers. They couldn't afford polos. You see what I'm saying? They couldn't afford how the preps dress. They couldn't afford that shit. Those were work clothes that they started styling and profiling in. Okay? Dickies was like what? $15, $16 a pair. Chucks was like $20-some. Then you put on a white flew to the room t-shirt, you know, get you a little gold chain. They dressed like that because they couldn't afford it. They were poor. All right, and nothing wrong with humble beginnings, but they made poor look good. They had us that grew up in suburbia want to emulate it and want that shit. They made poor look good. And look, what did he tell you? They have psychologists and wartime propaganda analysts that so-called white men put them together. They knew this was going to happen because it pulled me in. It pulled me in. It made me want to smoke weed. Weed wasn't nowhere on my motherfucking mind. I wanted to be, I was in soccer and basketball. Sean Kemp, my favorite player. That's all I was into. Okay? That shit pulled me in. It pulled me in. Then the next thing you know, you trying to emulate that shit. That's all by design, man. That's our enemy. The person that put that on the TV. Because just like they put that on, they could have put Elder Tahal. They could have put they could have put Apostle Elder Tahal on the motherfucking tube. They could have put Ariat. They could have put all those guys in One West on the TV. They weren't gonna put them on there. They wanted to put degeneracy on there by people to emulate it.
This is cross-check with ownership of the biggest names in prison privatization starting to get a little fishy. The largest holder in Core Civic, formerly Corrections Corp of America, is Vanguard Group Incorporated. Vanguard is the number
who is owned. When you look up Vanguard, it's going to tell you American by the last name of Bowley that he created it. He's the owner. That guy is he's not even worth $100 million. Vanguard shareholders own it. And those shareholders, the fucking Jews. He's just a fucking front man. Okay? They're the ones that owns these corporations. Okay?
Number one largest holder in both Viacom and Time Warner. Vanguard is also the largest holder in the GEO Group, the second largest owner of private prisons in the U.S. The overlap in private prison / mass media ownership is disturbing. Let's make this clear. The people who own the media are the same people who own private prisons. The exact same people. They make money from getting so-and-so from the hood to glorify the life they live. And they don't care about the impact it has on others because money is the motive. Then when the music influences others in criminal behavior, they make money from all the impressionable low-income people of color that are expected to go inside their private prisons.
A music industry executive who was present at that first meeting between CIA, private prison, and music industry executives has written a confessional letter detailing exactly what went down on that fateful day. Take a look at this.
A secret meeting that changed rap music and destroyed a generation. Damn. So it says, hello. After more than 20 years, I finally decided to tell the world what I witnessed in 1991, which I believe was one of the biggest turning points in popular music and ultimately American society. I have struggled for a long time weighing the pros and cons of making my story public, as I was reluctant to implicate the individuals who were present that day. So I've simply decided to leave out the names and all the details that may risk my personal well-being and that of those who were, like me, dragged into something they weren't ready for. Damn. Hold on, let me
So we gonna tell the story.
We gonna tell the story. We ain't scared.
You know what I'm saying? What they gonna do?
They after us, not scared.
Look, that black man.
So look. So he says, between the late 80s and early 90s, I was what you may call a decision maker with one of the more established companies in the music industry. I came to Europe in the early 80s and quickly established myself in the business. The industry was different back then, since technology and media weren't accessible to people like that, like they are today. The industry had more control over the public and had the means to influence them any way it wanted.
Right.
This may explain why in early 1991,
You see it,
I was invited to attend a close.
You see, now, a psychoanalyst, Esau, has everything covered. Before they put that on society, they had to get an understanding that it's going to influence people to do certain things. They have something called case studies. Before they put that tool out there, that model out there, they're going to do case studies like they do with lab rats for certain medicines. All right? They're going to make sure it works. So these mad scientists, before they implement that model and put it on our people, all right, they probably got some Hamites or a bunch of people, about 500 people to conduct this study to see if it worked first. All right. So this is a weapon. Hip hop was a weapon. That bitch was nuclear. Putting crack in neighborhoods, all that was a nuclear weapon to destroy our people, man.
During a meeting with a small group of business insiders to discuss rap music's new direction. Rap music's new direction.
Yeah.
Little did I know.
And rap music's new direction was to get our people to kill each other. That was the new direction. All right, all the different, because when rap came out, when you listen to KRS-One, Slick Rick, LL Cool J, who else? Them cats from New York, Cool Mo D. I forgot the other one I like. Even Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang wasn't on no violent shit like talking about it. You know, those guys wasn't rapping about killing and have your pants sagging and degeneracy. Those forefathers of hip hop that came out rapping, they wasn't talking. They was talking about partying and having a good time and upliftment. It was more uplifting music. So when he said that turn, they said, let's do this turn. They was talking about, and people was, and what Esau saw that people was emulating the early forefathers of hip hop, but them dudes was positive. So they say they following trying to do what these guys do from a positive perspective. Come on, let's turn this shit negative so we could get them to do our bidding. So that's when they start showcasing the gangster rap niggas. That's when they start showing casing against the rap niggas. So it started with NWA and them niggas out west. All right. And killing is what make the money. So we get these youth to emulate what these guys are doing and get them to kill each other. Okay.
We would be asked to participate in one of the most unethical and destructive business practices ever seen. Okay. So this was the meeting. The meeting was held at a private residence on the outskirts of Los Angeles. I remember about 25 to 30 people were being there. Right. Most of them familiar faces. Speaking of those I knew, we joked about the theme of the meeting, as many of us did not care for rap and failed to see the purpose of being invited to a private meeting to discuss the future of hip-hop. Talk to them. Among the attendees was a small group of unfamiliar faces who stayed to themselves and made no attempt to socialize beyond their circle. Based on their behavior and formal appearances, they didn't seem to be from our industry. Our casual chatter was interrupted when we were asked to sign the confidentiality agreement, preventing us from publicly discussing the information presented during the meeting. Needless to say, this intrigued, in some cases, stirred many of us. The agreement was only a page long, but very clear on matters and consequences, which stated that violating the terms would result in job termination immediately. We asked several people what this meeting was about and the reason for such secrecy, but could not find anyone who had the answers for it. A few people refused to sign and walked out. Nobody stopped them. I was tempted to follow, but curiosity got the best of me. That's right. A man who was part of the unfamiliar group collected all the agreements from us. So now it's going to get to the good part because the meeting about to start.
Talk to him, Jake.
It says, quickly after the meeting began, hold on one second.
Get your popcorn, y'all.
Popcorn, get your pistol. No,
real no.
Quickly after this meeting began, one of
you heard him jokingly say, get your pistol. Your pistol, you know, see, he's a natural man. He's of this world. All right. He's gotten enlightened enough to know that, all right, this gangster rap was given to us to destroy us. So in his mind, all right, my brother ain't my enemy. It's these motherfuckers sitting up in these skyscrapers. These guys in corporate America, those are my enemies. So he's conscious when it comes to that. But you heard him say, get your pistol. Nah, man, you can't beat them devils like that. Our weapons of warfare are not carnal. You're not going to beat this devil like that. That's not how you're going to take him down. All right? Our great king told us we're going to take him down through the foolishness of preaching. All right? We're going to tear down his lies. We're going to expose him. Like, that's what we're doing now. That's the way we fight him now. Our great king going to get physical with him. And when our great king get physical with him, then he's going to give us the powers to get physical with him. But right now, we are just here to expose him and just tell the truth. Hey, the truth coming out is hurting this nigga, man. This nigga butt hurt, man. We ain't using no Gatling guns and no swords. He getting mad at us for bringing out all this information, man. What you doing right now is hurting him. You reading that letter is pissing him off. Okay? He would rather you get a gun and kill yourself by a firing squad, because when you go with them towards the gun, all they're gonna do is kill you. He would rather you do that. He'll rather you gather arms to come fight him rather than read this fucking letter. You reading this letter is what hurts him. You exposing him.
Everybody else thanked us for attending. He then gave the floor to a man who only introduced himself by first name and gave no other details about his personal background. I think he was the owner of the residence, but that was never confirmed. He briefly praised all of us for the success we had achieved in our industries and congratulated us for being selected as part of this small group of decision makers. At this point, I began to feel slightly uncomfortable and the strangeness of this gathering. The subject quickly changed as the speaker went on to tell us that the respective companies we represented had invested in a very profitable industry, which could become even more rewarding with our active involvement. He explained that the companies we worked for had invested millions into the building of privately owned prisons, and that our positions of influence in the music industry would actually impact the profitability of these investments. Then he says, I remember many of us in the group immediately looking at each other in awe and confusion. At the same time, I didn't know what a private prison was, but I wasn't the only one. Sure enough, someone asked what these prisons were and what any of this had to do with music. We were told that these prisons were built by privately owned companies who received funding from the government based on the number of inmates. The more inmates, the more the government would pay these prisons. It was also made clear to us that since these prisons are privately owned, as they become publicly traded, we'd be able to buy shares. Most of us were taken back by this. Again, a couple of people asked what this had to do with us. At this point, my industry colleague who had first opened the meeting took the floor again and answered our questions. He told us that since our employees had become solid investors in this prison business, it was now in their interest to make sure that these prisons remain filled. Our job would be to help make this happen by making music which promote criminal behavior, rap being the music of choice. He assured us that this would be a great situation for us because rap music was becoming an...
All right, now listen. That's them implementing the tool, all right? But they had a psychoanalyst. You heard what the other guy said earlier. They had wartime psychoanalysts, all right? They had shrinks that knew once you implement this, and they got the data that most of these children come home from school, all they look at is BET and MTV. They're going to be impressionable and they're in dire poverty. So when they're impoverished and you show them this is the way they can make money and do these type of things, they're going to act on it. All right. This was all by design, and they got scientists to do this. They got people with degrees to concoct this plan. Okay. You gotta know the guy said they got psychiatrists, psychoanalysts, and wartime. They got generals, wartime generals to do this. MK Ultra mad scientists to do these things and weaponize hip hop. Okay?
Increasingly
so this weapon did away with the LL Cool J, the Kumo D's. All right? The people that's rapping positive. Kid Cudi, you wasting your time. All that positive rap, you ain't gonna get no airtime, my nigga. And he cold to me. He cool. The only one that seem to don't rap bullshit and they get him a lot of money is J. Cole. That's beyond me. Cause he pretty much rap against degeneracy. I don't know why they let him in. He must be sucking a lot of dick. He doing something why they let him in. I don't know. Because most rappers, if you're gonna rap in this day and time, you have to be rapping about murder, kill, degeneracy. If you ain't rapping about that, you got to be rapping about drugs, syrup, bullshit. Okay? And it's all by design.
Market for our companies, and as employees, we also be able to buy stocks in these prisons. Immediately, silence came over the room. You could have heard a pin drop. I remember looking around to make sure I wasn't dreaming and saw half of the people with dropped jaws. My day was interrupted when someone shouted, "Is this a fucking joke?" At this point, things became chaotic.
Right.
Two of the men who were part of the unfamiliar group grabbed the man who shouted and attempted to remove him from the house. A few of us, myself included, tried to intervene. One of them pulled out a gun, and we all backed off. They separated us from the crowd, and all four of us was escorted outside. My industry colleague, who opened up to me earlier, hurried out to meet us and reminded us that we had signed an agreement and would suffer the consequences.
Okay. So, as you can see, man, what the nation of Israel is going through, we ultimately brought it on ourselves, you know, and the curse is being fulfilled. But, hey, now we're in this final hour, all right? You got to know who your enemy is, all right? Your enemy is the so-called white man, the nation of Edom, all right? These rappers, they just pawns on the chessboard. They're being used, you know? They come out of, most of them come out of dire poverty, you know, getting it out the mud, as they say, and they'll do anything for money. The so-called white man knows that. People impoverished and impoverished situations are easy to manipulate. All right? And people that are impoverished, they look at people that are so-called well-to-do, and they want it. They lust after it, okay? So the so-called white man knows he create that type of arena, he will always have pawns to come get and set up, all right, to keep the multitude doing degenerate things, all right? This is Psalms 38 and 12. They also that are after my life lay snares for me. The so-called white man, those are the snares that he's left for our people, man. That's a trap. Hip-hop culture is a trap. When they start feeding you that shit at school, this is another thing beyond me. They let rappers, gangster rappers, come to schools and talk to the little children. And I'm like, man, y'all hear this nigga lyrics? If y'all gonna let this nigga come speak to the children, you might as well let the children curse. All these niggas do is curse, so-called curse, as this society understands the word. You're gonna teach the little children don't curse and don't say four-letter words, but you're gonna bring a rapper to the school that his whole CD is nothing but curse words. It's just oxymoron. All right? And his wicked ass telling the kids to stay in school and do what's right. But when those children leave, they want to listen to this guy's music, and his music is promoting degeneracy. If you're gonna bring this nigga here to the school, it's only right for the kids to want to see who he is and listen to his music. And he's going to be talking about selling dope, fucking other niggas' wives, and killing his own people. You see that all that shit is by design, man. All of it's by design. And they that seek my hurt speak mischievous things and imagine deceits all the day long. Okay? And this is what the so-called white man, how he's dealing with our people, man. He's a mischievous man. He's a subtle man. And he hates us. All right? That's why he set up this arena to keep our people in a lower state and destroy them. Okay? And our people, hey, you got to wake up. And if you don't wake up, so be it. All right? You're going to drink of the same cup this devil going to drink up. Because his devices and the things he's doing is come to an end. The Most High is cutting him off. And as you can see, all these rappers getting whacked, the Most High cut them off too. All right? The stars of heaven are descending into oblivion. All right? Them in their luster, them in their them getting treated like kings and royalty. That's about to come to an end. All right? This is Psalms, the book of Psalms, chapter 7. Start at verse 15. And it reads, he made a pit and digged it and fall into the ditch which he made. This was God to me. See that this pit that he's dig, all right, and the pit that he dig is a trap, all right. He's gonna fall into that trap, all right. But the thing about it, a lot of people are gonna fall. Our nation is gonna fall into that trap too, all right. A lot of people. You see, Vanguard also finances Pfizer, who gave you that Courvoisier 19, all right, that tranquilizer, all right. So the people that put that in their veins, hey, you done fell into that pit. that he's dug for you, okay? But ultimately, he's going to fall into it too, all right? His judgment draweth nigh. But our people, you need to wake up and understand and see that this devil is not your friend, that the so-called your people are not your enemy, all right? And you need to come to where you see a great millstone camp near you and get enlightened and getting taught of the Lord, all right? Now, when I say our people are not our enemies, all right, the arena that the so-called white man has put in play is the reason our people are killing each other. But our people are our enemies because they're enmity with the word of Yahweh Shema Shai. They don't respect the Yahweh Shema Shai's word. So 2/3 of our people are no different than heathens, than Edomites. But this is for you few that were here and were not forbear, and you would take heed in word and deed. His mission shall return on his head. See, all these traps that we're reading about, they're going to fall on his head. All right, it's written. And his violent dealings shall come down on his plate. Okay? You're going to live to see all of his devices get crumbled, get tore down. All right? And everything that he meant for bad is going to turn to good. Because look, the elect is waking up. The nation of Israel, the righteous men in this end time war. And look, we telling the truth in every corner. All right? We not giving Yahweh Shema Shai no rest. We're petitioning the throne to take this devil down. Give us more spirit so we could expose this devil more and more. All right? That's why he cracking up. All right? He spent billions of dollars for us not to get this knowledge. Okay? This is the book of Sirach. Chapter 12, verse 6. All right? For the Most High hate of sinners, and the only sin that the so-called white man could commit is dealing treacherously with the nation of Israel. That's his sin. When he was in the garden, when he gave Eve those philosophies, when he gave her that forbidden fruit, the Most High put a judgment on him. He told him, you're gonna crawl on your foes and you're gonna eat dirt all fucking day. All right. He told Cain, I'm gonna put a mark on you. You're gonna be a vagabond in the earth all the days of your life. Okay. That's his judgment for dealing treacherously with the Lord's holy seed, and will replay vengeance into the ungodly and keep them against them and keeping them against the mighty day of their punishment. Okay? So you got to know who the fuck your enemy is, man. Okay? Verse 10, never trust thine enemy. The so-called white man, a.k.a. Edom, is your enemy. All right? And look, it's not a color thing. Most Edomites look like so-called white people. But guess what? You have Edomites that look like us. You got dark-skinned, chocolate-covered Edomites. All right, their lineage goes up to a Edomite. All right, you got Edomites with what this society calls nappy hair, dark skin, and their lineage goes up to a fucking Edomite. You even got so-called white people with non-melanated skin, with Edomite with so-called white people features, but their lineage goes up to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, so this thing is not just about color. It's just that the vast majority of Edomites look like so-called white people. That was the curse that the Heavenly Father put on them, for them to have non-melanated skin, be enemies of the sun. The sun make us better. The sun give us vitamin E. It makes us healthier. All right. And when it does to them, it burns them. It gives them sunburn, gives them skin cancer. All right. They can't go outside in the sun without putting on glasses. They're vampires. Okay. That was one of the curses the Most High put on the Edomites. Okay. So the so-called white man is your arch nemesis. If you don't know that, that's what the prophets is out to do. Tell the truth of the scriptures, man. All right. Give it to the people with raw. whether they heal, forbear. So with that, I'm going to give infinite honors to my Heavenly Father, my great King, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Harakakadash. We give double honors to our teachers, the apostles of Great Millstone, and salutations to my fellow laborers in Yahweh Shah. Kwam Yasharala, Abba Abba.